Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. I, 21 female, grew up with a complicated family history that has left a lasting impact on my life. My parents divorced when I was very young, and the reason behind their separation is something I've only recently come to understand. You see, my dad never wanted me to be born. He had been having an affair with mom's then best friend and wanted to leave mom for her. He wanted my mom to have a pregnancy termination so he can restart fresh, but she refused to go through with it. Their disagreement over this led to their divorce, and I ended up being raised by my mom alone. She was my rock, my everything. Sadly, my mom passed away recently after a long battle with cancer. Before she died, she opened up to me about the circumstances surrounding my birth and my dad's initial resistance. She told me that she wanted me to make my own decision about whether or not I wanted to reconnect with my father. It was an incredibly emotional conversation, and I struggled with conflicting emotions. On one hand, I felt angry and hurt by my dad's actions. On the other hand, I couldn't deny that he was still my father, and that he had a right to be a part of my life if he wanted to. Not long after my mom's passing, I received a message from my dad. He wanted me to come and stay with him and his wife, who was his affair partner, as he claimed to have changed and wanted to make amends for the past. But something felt off about his sudden interest in reconnecting. So we met at a cafe, and 5 minutes in, he revealed that he was on the verge of death and desperately needed a kidney transplant to survive. And the reason he reached out to me was that he saw me as his last hope of a donor. The reality of the situation hit me hard. My dad only remembered he had a daughter like me when he needed my kidney. I made the difficult decision to refuse his request and told him so. He flipped out and called me ungrateful. He said I wouldn't even be alive if it weren't for him, and the least I could do for the life he had given me was to at least get tested to find out if I'm a match. I told him flatly that had he had his way, I would have been killed when I was still in embryo and left. I've told some of my friends, and they've called me a horrible human being for doing that. Now, I can't help but wonder if I made the right decision. Am I the a-hole for refusing to donate my kidney to my estranged father? Update. Days ago, my dad called me in a hysterical state, claiming that his wife had died because I didn't give her the kidney. I was like, what the F? But it was then that the truth dawned on me. The kidney was intended for his wife, the very woman he abandoned my mom and I for, not for himself. I was taken aback by this revelation and couldn't believe what I was hearing. I hung up the phone and promptly blocked my dad. I still can't believe the audacity of this man. Moving forward, I've decided to focus on my own life and leave this toxic relationship behind. I refuse to let this asshole continue to have an impact on my well-being. I'm choosing to move on, heal, and forget that he ever existed. And I've taken a break from my friends as well. The distance has made me realize how toxic they've been for a long time. I think it's time to close that chapter of my life. Thank you all for your support. It's sad to hear about your mom's death. I'm sorry for your loss, OP. You're not the a-hole. Your dad's affair partner didn't die because you refused to give her one of your kidneys. You don't even know your kidneys are a match for hers, and besides, it's your kidney. If you don't want to give it to your estranged father or the woman he cheated on your mother with, then it's within your rights to do so. Your dad sounds like a toxic, entitled a-hole. I'm glad you've decided to have nothing to do with him. Story 2. Okay, so a little background. I, 20 female, don't have a very good relationship with my sister, 29. Ever since she was little, my sister hated my mom. Don't know why, she has always treated us well. Up until she moved out at 19 with her now ex, she was bullying my mom, turning my dad against her. My mom, so she, my sister, could act like the victim, etc. I remember being a kid and coming back home to my mom and my sister yelling at each other almost every day. I loved my sister back then though. I mean, I was young and she was my older sister, so I kind of admired her just for being a grown-up. She actually was very jealous of me, turned my brother against me many times. And when she moved out, she called me names and spread false rumors about my parents to the whole town, saying they abused her. It's messed up. Also, I must add that my mom's in a wheelchair as she got an illness way back when I was 5. Won't die from it, but there's no cure. My sister already was mean before this happened, and she kept acting this way after. She never even helped my parents out. My brother was a troublemaker, and my dad had to take care of all of us by himself. 8 years after my sister moved out, so 2 years ago, my brother convinced her to break up with her toxic boyfriend and to move in back with us. My mom wasn't happy about this, but she promised my dad she wouldn't start any argument. My sister told us she wasn't the same immature girl she was back then, so we gave her a chance to be part of our family again. Our family is just my parents, my siblings and I, and our dog. Soon after that, she would often talk about how awful her ex was, although I think they were both toxic for each other and not just him. But I would never tell her that. I got to know her again and realized she was a narcissist. She manipulates, plays the victim, gaslights, and she's always seeking attention, especially on social media. Everyone around her is scared of telling her anything that would go against her, because we know how she reacts every time. Crying, yelling, playing the victim, telling others how unfair it is, etc. I have anxiety and I know this kind of drama is really bad for my health, so I avoid it as much as I can. My dad also has anxiety, and my mom's illness gets worse when she's stressed out, so I'm really trying to avoid it. Not only this, but I actually really dislike her personality, as mean as it sounds. We never agree on anything, and we always end up getting annoyed at each other. We don't value the same things, and we don't have the same morals. I'm usually open-minded to others' opinions and point of views, but with her I always end up thinking, wow, what a douche. I can't help it. I mean, one time, we were watching a documentary with our mom. They were talking over it, but I was still listening anyway. It was about an amputated teenage girl who didn't let her missing leg get the best of her, and she was playing sports and everything. I really admired her, but then my mom commented on the girl's glasses that looked weird. My sister then said, well, I mean, she's kind of ugly. And when they realized what the documentary was about, there was a very awkward silence. One time, her and my brother at 25 were talking about how they ask people what's wrong, not because they're concerned for them, but because they want to know about the gossip. And they legit bonded and laughed over that. It made me think back to all of the times they asked me why I was feeling down, especially considering they tell each other everything that I tell them privately, including secrets. I don't tell them anything personal anymore. I think what really made me resent her initially was her and my brother hanging out all the time without me. I would talk to them about it and they would tell me I have to ask to go with them. Wouldn't they invite me if they truly wanted me there? I shouldn't have to ask. Also, when I do go with them, I'm completely left out, as much as I try not to be. They knew it hurt me, and my sister once caught me crying in the bedroom over it. I didn't tell her why I was crying at the time, but she pressured me again about it 1 year later, so I told her even if I didn't want to, because I knew she wouldn't ever let it go. I told her I felt left out, and I was still feeling very sad about it. She only replied, "Oh, I knew it." Okay, she knew and she didn't do anything to help. I don't know. I'm not saying she's responsible for me feeling included or not, but if you hear your younger sibling hurt over something you did, wouldn't you try to make it better? Talk things out? I was completely left in the dark, and I'm pretty sure the reason they never invited me is because they're extroverts and I'm an introvert, so I'm boring. Especially because I don't drink alcohol. They constantly tell me my life's boring compared to theirs, because I'm inside all the time. I actually have a lot of fun, so it always sounded dumb to me. After getting hurt over this many times, I got tired of it and decided I wouldn't try to be close to them anymore. I'm still close with my brother because he has always been there for me through my ups and downs, and I know I can trust him. But my sister doesn't even feel like a sister to me. I genuinely don't want her to be a part of my life, and I don't want to be a part of hers. I don't wish her bad things or anything like that, but basically I don't care at all about her new life. To me, she's like a stranger, and I have no desire to be close to her anymore. She has a new boyfriend that I've met a few times now, and he seems like a great guy. And they moved in together in a new house. Her boyfriend's dad paid for them. It's been 2 months and I still haven't visited the house. My brother went to see the house today. He lives in another country, which is why he's only visiting it now. My brother told me my sister was disappointed because she kept inviting me and I wouldn't go. And she noticed that I just didn't care. Now, I was actually supposed to go with my brother today. I legit prepared everything yesterday, but my sleep schedule is a mess. So I woke up a little late and my brother said it was too late. Even though I tried to convince him to just wait 15 minutes extra for me, he didn't want to hear it, saying it would be disrespectful for my sister to make her wait. Even though she disrespects my parents' schedules and literally uses them to get her mail for her all the time, when she can do it herself. She doesn't have a job and isn't busy. I don't see why it was that big of a deal. I genuinely wanted to go this time. Well, I wanted to get this done. Anyway, my family kept shaming me for not caring, saying I'm being insensitive and cruel towards my sister because she feels hurt over me not giving her attention. But what am I supposed to do then? Tell her straight up that I don't care about her life? Or fake a smile and let her talk to me about things that I don't care about for hours and hours? She doesn't even care about how I feel. She would often text me just to brag about things she bought or did, never saying a hello or asking how I'm doing. When I was at my lowest, she put me down even more. She talks behind everyone's backs and criticizes everyone's looks. She stalks people she doesn't like online, and she's still bitter about things people did to her literally over 15 years ago. Like girls from her middle school judging her for her appearance. She said my brother's tattoo was a mistake. It's literally just a small tattoo on the inside of his wrist, something that is really meaningful to him, and constantly treats him as if he was a junkie just because he smokes weed with his friends sometimes. My brother forgives her every time she does him wrong, and it's so frustrating. Because I'm 9 years younger than her, she treats me like I'm beneath her. Too young and stupid to know what I'm doing. It's like she thinks she's my mom or something. While she wasn't there for most of my life and is in no position to give me lessons. Considering how she was at my age and she hasn't changed that much. We had many arguments since she came back, and every time she's the one starting it. Because she gets mad at me over the most trivial things and manages to get my mom on her side. I don't understand her and she doesn't understand me. Honestly, the only reason I still talk to her is because I still live at my parents' house and I don't want drama. If I had my own home, I would have cut her out of my life a year ago already. I'm patiently waiting for that day to happen, but overall, I feel trapped. Because being around her makes me uncomfortable and I dread seeing her every time I know she's going to our house. I wish she could just be out of our lives, but I know it's never going to happen. My parents and my brother are also bothered by her, by the way. It's not just me. Let's just say I'm more vocal about my feelings. Although my brother has said worse things than I ever did about her when he's mad. So I feel like I'm an a-hole already at this point, but am I really an a-hole for not caring about her and not wanting her in my life? I hate faking kindness, it makes me so uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right, which is why I keep as much distance as I can. I'm civil to her when she's there. I don't treat her badly or anything like that. Hurting her is not my goal, although I know it's inevitable at this point. You're not an a-hole, OP. You don't like your sister because she's a narcissist, and she's annoying to be around, and that is normal. We can't all fake a smile every time someone gets on our nerves. You're dealing with your sister the way you know how to, which is alienating yourself from her. Your other family members deal with it differently, but that doesn't mean you have to do what they're doing. Your sister is not going to change anytime soon. Especially since the people around her are too scared to tell her how her behavior truly affects and hurts them. Your best solution is to put more distance, but to do this successfully, you have to be on your own. This way, no one would force their thoughts about how you should be treating your sister on you anymore.